A few cycles more, showing that it creeps in and starts to hit in the middle there. And the rest is, well, improving. And now I have the lowest area there with where I point to my finger, meaning I've hit it too hard there. And then it starts improving here. And I also verify that I'm reading 0 on the other side of the shears there. Now I've been measuring around all corners plus along the length here, and it's actually now 100 of a millimeter higher here. That doesn't matter too much really, but I'll get that later. And now I'm bluing up, it sort of sticks more, so it's sitting better, really. But since I'm feeling that it's really touching in the middle more, I hold over that area. Don't push down towards the ends, because then I can get that to cover anyway, even though that's if the surface is bowed like a banana, you can get it to touch all over, which would of course be a false reading. So only apply pressure where it touches. And now finally, I see that it's covering all over, even though it's not good coverage to any degree. Just carry on. I estimate some 8-10 cycles more before it starts hitting all over with good coverage. So carry on. And I'm starting to use the normal technique we have learned, individual rows and individual marks, of course, shorter strokes, and trying to pinpoint where there is blue. And with this technique, you will then achieve a diagonal checkerboard pattern. I'm keeping the blade quite flat, but it's getting dull, so it's time to sharpen. But then I also have the other edge, so I flip it around and try. And you may be able to hear that it cuts better this way. And under the headstock, only a static fit is needed, so less required number of points. However, it doesn't change the way that you're scraping. Okay. And I'm using hand scraping on a couple of these beds. This one I had finished with machine scraping, but took it a little bit further down and with real rough scraping, because I wanted to see if I could get rid of the hacksaw marks here. And most of them disappeared actually. So now I'm taking it back again to where I was. Using the same technique, I'm holding the scraper either to the body. Ideally it should have been lower, of course, but now I need to push someplace, and I found it most convenient to push in the armpit here or to the chest with just a pad here like this, and then with this grip I get a very good control. So instead of using a hand scraper like so, where I am free to move in every way, I find it much better to just move like so. And whether I'm going from left to right or right to left is the same. Relatively flat scraper. Now I'm starting to
be a little bit more concerned about where to hit. I'm also using shorter strokes, and although the blade is quite wide, it's also more narrow. I think this is a 60 blade, 60 millimeter radius, and I'm trying to move sideways to get that checkerboard look. By roughing it up again, which I have done, I also of course lost a bit of the overall coverage, so I have to work on that again now. I'm showing this in full so you can see this is the technique I have adopted, which I think is better than just using the normal hand scraping with one hand to control the angle. This way you have much better control. And you can push harder because you push with your body. And it's not so tiresome. Everything then relative to, of course, machine scraping. So I can go the other way also, but I have been taught to go pushing, or to go the way I scrape, like so. Go forward. Of course I can avoid hitting the corner by, of course the hand scraping is not so easy to hit the corner, so close-up shot, although not from scraping the green machine, but rather from this with the original coating, which wasn't so worn really. I include this footage here because I thought it was timely to show hand scraping technique. I'm trying here to just pinpoint the blue areas and to use individual rows and marks. It's much more random, at least my level, and if you use a power scraper it will of course be more consistent. I forgot one row there, the camera is in the way. I move the camera a little bit with a longer uninhibited session. Go the other way, starting down here.
So now it's clear, at least from a wear point of view. This is removed, fixed on the front way there. But I have instead then developed a somewhat low area on the rear way there, which needs to be fixed in a way that I need to correct by scraping down the other areas to match. And the depth I have managed to creep under, the error I've produced is doable in a few cycles, I guess. And the overall flatness is probably within specs, let's say 1/100th of a millimeter, half a thou from end to end. But of course needs to be improved with regards to coverage. Yeah, now it starts looking like something, at least on the most part, good coverage. And also, as you can see here, this area where you have single spots, as it should be, for support and oil retention, and a little bit low there, and then we have these low spots here, and we need to measure how low they are really. And unfortunately, they were a little bit lower than I thought, around 1.5 or 1 to 2 hundredths of a millimeter, which means that I've really taken down too much, and that's a lesson to learn also. Measure more frequently, be more and pay more attention to detail, which will save you a lot of work later. And after bluing once more, I see that I still have these low areas, so we just have to measure how low they are. And as it turns out, they are about, well, one of these pockets almost 200ths of a millimeter, the other one down to 1. Which means I still have some work left to do. I may also show a method of finding the highest of the high points. With the blued up surface, you pick an area where you have no blue on the surface plate, and then you rub on top of that, and then you can polish the highest areas. So you will then see them as shiny points. Just remember to have no grit at all, otherwise you will ruin your plate. Then there is evident to see that, for example, there in the middle there, you see a shiny point which is higher than the other around or the surrounding area. So you find these quite easily, and then you can take these down first. There is another one there, shiny there. And then you use a marker and then of course mark those first. So in this case you'll see with the black spots, these are the highest, the shiny ones. And then I take these first, of course. And then I use another technique called bump scraping, where you just push down and then you have a sight in the middle if you want to be extremely accurate, which it will of course try. This is not what I'm really good at, so instead of using this bump scraping technique, I normally pull scrape. And then you can try different tools. In this case, I'm trying out a flat blade, which is really dangerous because you can cut gouges or really cut on the sides there if you are not particular to the angle that you use. I mean sideways. But careful, then you can do this. This method doesn't really remove much material. It's not beneficial to use apart from just decorative finish and or this method. And I think I call it a day here. And then having spent some more time for the decorative finish, You see that this is more random than power scraping, but you shall still be able to see the individual rows and marks. And then just as a side step here, I use brake cleaner, especially to wash the stones, these slip stones. You can also have highlighter on top here now, going into the final stages to see the bluing better, contrast color, so to speak. Just wipe it off, so it remains like a thin layer. Looks kind of shiny, and now you see it's much easier to view the details. For example, that I'm a little shy over here. Otherwise just work on the details.